Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to study about how to display the values from a table, the table that we have added to our database, how to display those values on a data grid view in a C#.NET. So let's start. Just to create a project. So starts with the Windows Form application. Then give some project name. So I will give it as a data grid 1, and this is our form. So for this, already we have studied how to create a database, how to add a table to our database. Then also in this video again we will discuss about how to create the database, how to add the table to the database, how to add the values to that created table in a database. So just search for, if you are using a Visual Studio 2008, or if you are using the version latest versions of Visual Studio 2013 or 19, then in a view menu you can search for the option Server Explorer. If it is for 2008, search for the Database Explorer. You will get the Server Explorer window. So Database Explorer window. So you will get the option with the name of data connection. Just right click on the data connection, add a new connection. Now add connection window will open. So just here, data source, we have to select the file. So in updated versions or in early latest versions of Visual Studio, it comes with a 5 to 6 options. So we have to select Microsoft SQL Server database file. Just press it OK. Now click on the browse button, choose the destination location where you want to store your database. So in a document, I will store database as a data grid. Now just press OK. So we have given the name of the database as a data grid which is not available. So it shows you the database file data grid mdf does not exist. Would you like to create it? Just press OK. So it will create a database with the name of data. Here you can see the database with the name of data grid view. Okay, data grid. So just open that database, go for the table, just right click on your table, add a new table, select the option add new table. Now we'll add the table for the student information. So roll number of type integer, set the primary key, just right click on this arrow and set a primary key. So does not allow null value. Name of the student, so n varchar above 50. Then we'll take the branch of the student. So deselect this. Then class of the student, and again change the data types with the n varchar, and the division of a student as a character. So does not allow the null value for any. So if you are using the version of Visual Studio 2013 or 2019, you will get the update database option over here. So just to click on that option, so automatically it will create the table. So again you have to give the table name. So just to save this table, so I will save this table with the name of student. So just refresh your database, open your tables. Now you can see there is a table. Now we will add some values to the table. Just right click on a table, show table data, so it will open the table. So we will add some values. So we are adding the values to the table. So create one more row with the name of xyz, with the branch mechanical, with the class sc, having the division b. So we just close this information. So we have created the table with the 5 columns: roll number, name, branch. So you will see we have added some values. So just right click on a table, go to the show table data. So you can see these are the 3 values that we have added. So this is how we can create a table and we can add the values to the table. So first of all, select your database, right click on your database. So I am repeating, select a database, right click on your database, not on a table. Right click on your database, go for the properties. Again, in a property, you will get the property with the name of connection string. Copy that connection string. So we need that string to establish the connection with the database. So just double click on your form. So we need to use the namespace using system dot data dot SQL client. Then in a public section, we'll create the object of the SQL connection class. As a con is equal to new SQL connection, @ symbol, double quote mark, paste that connection string here. So close this so we can see it clearly. So double quote mark complete, bracket complete, semicolon. So now, so this is how we establish the connection with the created database. Now what is our task? So first of all, what is the data grid view? The data grid view control allows us to load the information from the database to display the information from the table as it is on your form. So just search for the control with the name of data grid view. So here it is. So just double click, so it will open, it will create a data grid view for us. So this is our first data grid view. Now there are 4-5 possibility 3 to 4 possibilities that we can load the data to the data grid view. So normally we can load the values from a table to the data grid view whenever your application will load, or whenever you will run your application. Automatically the value from that particular table, a selected table, must be loaded to our data grid view. For this purpose, just after inserting a data grid view to our application, just here you can see at the top of the data grid view there is a right arrow. Just to select that right arrow, open. Now here we have to choose the data source. So just click on this, add data source, add project data source. So here select database, then next. Now select our database name. So we have created the database with the name of data grid. So select this database, then next, just press OK. So it will ask you, yes, save the connection string, yes, just. So now it is retrieving the information from that database data grid for us. So you can see here is the table that we want to show on our data grid view. So just select that table, finish your operation. So directly we can see that the all the columns from that created table are present or are on our data grid view. So just you will execute it, just run your application. So you can see on the form load only, automatically it will display, or it is displaying the information from that table to your data grid. This is the one task and which is so easy to execute. Now, whenever we access the value for the data grid view on a form load, and whenever we set the data source from this option through the properties, directly you can see one more time, just by clicking on this right arrow you can go to the add query, and you can see the query. It has a automatically created query for you. Select roll number, name, branch, class, division from the table named as a student. So it's selecting all the values from that particular table. So, okay, so drop this to the bottom of your form. Okay, now if you want to load the values, if you want to load the values to the data grid view, whenever you will press the button, and then it must be loaded to that data grid view. So for that purpose, so you can see for this automatically it has generated code on a form load only. This dot student table adapter dot fields, this dot data grid dataset dot students. So it has used the table the property with the name of student table adapter. Okay, so now this is the first thing that we can this is how we can using this scenario we can load the values from a table to your data grid view. For the next thing, whenever we will click on a button, it must display the values to the data grid view. So for this purpose we have added one more data grid view and one button. Just I will change the text property of that button as load. So on double click, whenever we will click on this particular button, so first of all we will open the connection con.open the object that we have created. So con.open, then we have to use the class SQL data adapter class. Create an object of SQL data adapter class as a new SQL data adapter, and select pass the query as a parameter. So select star from our table name, where set the condition roll number is equals to single quote double quote single quote, and inside this double plus sign, and inside this text box. So we are not added the text box, so directly select star from student only and pass the connection class object. So we have to load all the values. We are not searching for a value, so just we have to load all the values from the table student. Select star from student and the connection class object as a con, pass it to the SQL data adapter class, then create the object of a data table class, and using the a method of a SQL data adapter class, fill method of a SQL data adapter class, pass the object of a data table as a parameter to the fill method, and then our data grid view to dot data source, search for the proper data source, is equal to dt. Control S, then SDA, sorry, con dot connection dot close. So save it, just run our application. Now you can see by whenever we are loading our form, it's showing that value. Just whenever I will click on a load, again it's displaying the value to our data grid view. So this is how we can load the values from a database to Windows Form application on a data grid view. So this is the one scenario. Now we can add the code for a search button also. Whenever we will enter some value in a text box, and it must search for that particular value in a table, and only that search value should be displayed on our data grid view. So for this purpose also, we will add one button. I will change the property of a button, text property of a button to as a search, and we will add text box for the searching. So this is the text box. So I will minimize first, add it to data views just for the space purpose. Okay, so we need one more data grid view, so we will use a separate data grid view for a separate operation. So add one more data grid view to our project. So whenever we will search, enter a text, it must display, if that value is available, it must display that value to your data grid. For this, just double click on a search button, again open the connection dot open. Now same code, just copy it, paste this code over here, and change the query as a select star from student, where, so we'll search using roll number equals to single quote, double quote, single quote, single quote, double quote, single quote, and inside this double quote mark, double plus sign, and inside double plus sign, text box one dot text, the value from the text box one dot text, and double quote mark comma, object of a connection class. So this is our query, and then data table dt SDA dot fill method pass object of a dt class, data table class, and here change data grid view 3. So just execute, run your application. We will run first it. Okay, it's loading all the values. Okay, now we'll search for the roll number 1. So you can see again roll number 2. Now you can see again roll number 3. You can see a roll number 56. No value for a roll number 56. So if you place it as a null, no value, so it must display the appropriate message for the null values if there is no text in a text box. So for this purpose, After opening the connection, if text box 1 dot text is equal to null, message box dot show enter roll number for search. So we'll close the objects. No need to close it. So we'll commit on later part. Else same code. So save it. We will execute it. We will load this. Now we search for, so enter roll number for a search. Now we will enter the roll number 1. So it will cause the exception. The connection was not closed in a current state position. So after executing this, whenever you are after completing your operation, each and every time we have to close that connection object. Okay, so save it. Now search for it. Now enter roll number for a search. Okay, so now I will enter 1. Now it's displaying. Now it's okay. So now we will add roll number 12. So there is a there is no value for a roll number 12 because we have added only the 3 students to our table. So it will display that information. Then also you can set a proper coding for not search not found. After entering into table, after entering and value, this code will work for a empty text box. But if you are entering the value in a text box which is not available in a table like 12, so it must display an appropriate message that roll number 12 is not available in a database or any related message. So for this purpose we need to alter some code. So first of all, here, so we'll remove this complete code in else block. Okay, so we will create the SQL command. CMD is equal to new SQL command, and here we will pass that query. Select star from student where roll number equals to single quote, double quote, double quote, single quote, inside the double quote double plus, and inside text box 1 dot text double quote mark complete comma object of a connection class con. So here we have to open this object, con dot open. So then create the object for SQL data reader class as SDR is equal to CMD dot execute reader, call to the execute reader method. Now if SDR dot read method is equals to false, so read method will read a single row. If that row is present, it will return a true, otherwise it will return a false value. Now if it is false, then display the message box dot show roll number which roll number? Value from a text box. One dot text is not in database. Again con dot close. Else else SDR dot, okay, create the object of a data table class. We need to create the object of a data table class as a dt new data table, and using the dt dot load method pass your cmd dot execute reader. Again one more time, and then data grid view 3 dot data source is equal to dt. Again con dot close. This is the else close. So save it. Now we try to execute it. So first of all, load is working. So enter the roll number for a search. Okay, roll number 1. So which is not closed. Connection was not closed. The connection in current state. So we need to close this connection. So okay, wait. For this line, save it. Now one more time, execute it. Again load. It's working. Search, enter the roll number for search. Now 1. Again, there is already open a data reader associated with this command, which must be closed first. Okay, so here we have a problem that SQL data reader SDR execute reader, here it is already open. Again we are executing using the same reader, so we need to close this first. So here, after completing this operation, we will close it. SDR dot close. We'll save it, try to execute it. So it's working, no problem. Search. Okay, now for the positive search, again it's showing that it must open. So we need to change the location of a closing for the SQL data reader. So Control X, try to place over after else block, in else block. So now it's okay for the not entering a test. Now it's okay. I will enter for 12. So roll number 12 is not available in the database. So again I will enter for a 2. It will display the value for a 2. Now I will enter for 20. Search. So roll number 20 is not available, but it's showing the value 2 which is previously loaded. So we need to dispose that value. For this purpose, where is the block of not found? Here it is. Okay, so here data grid view 3 dot data source is equal to set it as a null, and then data grid view dot search for the property dot clear so here search for the property here as well dot rows dot clear, save it, now execute it. So for the loading, it's loading, not loading. So for the search, enter the roll number for a search, enter roll number 1, it is displaying the value, enter the roll number 2, it is displaying the value. Now I will enter the 25. So 25 is not available in database, so it's not disposing that. Okay, so which value we are disposing is okay, it's only equal to, not equals to. So that is loaded. I will enter 30. So you can see the 13 is not available database and it's removing the value from this data grid. Now again, whenever we will click on a search button, now means if we are searching for a 2, okay, but it's showing 2 in a text box only. If you are searching for a 3, again it's showing that 3. If you are searching for a 45, not available, but it's still showing that value. So whenever you will click for a search, if it is available it will show, if it is not available it will show not available, but it must clear it. So for this, to text clear the text box, we need to set the code else text box 1 dot text is equal to clear it. So save it, we search for a 1. Yes, and it's displaying that value also. 23 is not available in a database, and it is again 1. Search. So this is how we can access the value. One more thing we can add to the data grid view, means whenever we'll type the in a text box, automatically it will search for that value in a table and should display that value in a data grid view. So this is 3 scenarios that we have studied about the data grid view: how to load the value on a form load, how to load the value on a data grid using button, how to search the value in a database and display that value on a data grid view. One more thing, so a similar like a search button only, we will add one more data grid view to our form, and one more text box only. So when you will enter the text only, it if the text is matching with any value, it must display that value in this particular data. So for this code, Just double click on a text box. In a text change the property, same code for the load button. Just copy that code and paste it. Copy the code of a load button and paste that code for a text box and change the query. Just only select the star from student where search using the name, use the property like. So I will delete all the things. Okay, like, single quote, double quote, again double quote and single quote, and inside a double quote mark. And here, what is the name of this text box? Just check. I think so it's text box 2. Okay, it is text box 2. So within the value from text box 2 dot text, and here add the percentage sign, double quote mark, complete, comma, connection object. So this is the query. Just save it, run our application. Just check. Load is working. Yes. Searching is working. Yes. 12 not found. Okay, no problem. Now, so it's changing the value in this data grid only. So we have to use for a, okay, we have copied that code of a load button, so it's changing the value in a data grid view 2 only. So we need to use it as a data grid view 4. Save it, execute it. Now try. So a, with the starting value a, we have two names, so it's showing 2. So I will write x, so it will show x. This is how we can load the values from a table to our data grid view. These are the 4 scenarios. You can load the value from a table to database, from table to data grid view on a form load. You can load the value using the button. You can search for a value in a database and you can display that value to your data grid view. Again, you can search using a text box directly, and as per the matching text, it will display those values in a data grid view. This is how we can use the data grid view to store, to display the information, to display the values from a table on your Windows Form application. And this is all about the data grid view in a C Sharp. And for this we have used the classes related with the ADO.NET, SQL data adapter, SQL data reader, data table class, SQL connection class, SQL command class, and the related methods with these particular classes to execute the all the queries. Thank you.